I was doing that thing again. I was mid-conversation. We're flowing.
We're flowing. Gotta
No, I was just saying, and it's going to be, well, fuck it, we'll jump into it now. I watched this, Ed Milet, I just love him.
Yes.
For someone, and I think what I like about him the most is for someone who is so accomplished, who is so just on another level in so many ways, someone I aspire to get to professionally and just, I think mentally is not the right word, but I love his mindset. He had John Maxwell on the podcast. Turns out they've been friends for, a decade or so. And during the interview, Ed kind of says, you've kind of taken on my father's role in, since he's passed. And they were talking about John Maxwell's newest book. And, going back to what I love about Ed, just again, seeing how he just is like a sponge, just sits there and absorbs all of this stuff and when I'm very much like this, when I'm with people, I want to do less talking. I want to do more absorbing of what they're saying. And just hearing how he reacted to some of the stuff Maxwell was saying is really powerful. But anyway, the book is about failing and how we should actually want to fail and reframing failure. I did some research. He's had a similar-ish book, but this one was a bit more pointed. And it reminded, I think it was Gary Vee that once said, I feel like he said everything when it comes to entrepreneurship and mindset. Just that, entrepreneurship really is just a sequence of failing and then getting something right.
Yeah.
But the whole premise of it, and I haven't gotten to the book yet, I think it only just came out, but just that we have to reframe failure as something that's positive and, putting the onus on people who have succeeded to talk about all of the failure that came before. And that's always been a frustration of mine in the entrepreneur space. And you don't hear about the struggles of people getting to where they got to. You just hear about how from this point it started and moved on.
Going.
So, I felt like failure was something we could definitely dive into. We've both been there. And again, it's not failing. It's just, I forget what he said, there's two types of failing. And it basically comes down to, did you fail forward? Or did you fail and it's making you a loser?
Yeah. You only fail when you stop trying, right? That's the only time you've failed. Because if you're continuing to try, yes, fine, you're having continual failure. Recently, when I've been in some really challenging mental moments, I just say to myself, like, I'm going to talk about this on stage one day. Like these heartaches, these hardships, these things where literally someone's viewing you. Sorry, I have noise happening. Real life happening. Where someone's
I don't hear it.
Oh, awesome. Where someone's viewing you as like maybe this is a little vulnerability. Like this is a little share. Like right now, I'm just gonna be totally vulnerable. I have a significant mortgage and now a significant rental payment. I'm paying both. We're talking, 10 grand just in that, let alone cars, insurance, utilities, all of that. And then thanks to my integrity, up and left a paying job. Thank you, integrity. There's been a few moments as of recent where I'm like, okay, I've got this uncomfortable stint to get through and I'm driving the BMW and I've got the Rolex on and, I've got the this, the that. And I'm like, oh my God, am I not a poser, but when financially, when you are stable and it's flowing and it's like, there's nothing that's really stressing you as far as money goes because it's coming. So I've curtailed myself a little bit as of recent because I've let the amount of money in the bank account get in my head about like my value and my worth and what I have a right to enjoy. And I'm not out flaunting anything, but I'm like, should I be driving this car? Yes, I should be driving this car. I've earned the car. I pay for the car. I'm still paying for the car. It's not like I'm not paying for it, but it does mess with your head. And when you're in the middle of failing forward, because I'm not failing, like I'm growing, I'm succeeding. This is just a more strained moment. Yes. It's not failure. I'm like, okay, cool. And when you've done it enough times, you come out on the other side even better. And to me, the failure would be if I was in the same position, out of integrity, out of alignment, just going through the motions for a paycheck. That to me is failing. So it's reframed. It's taking that pain and discomfort and We talk about this when you're going to level up and you're hitting your head on the ceiling and it hurts. And you're like, damn, if I just step back, I'll stop hitting my head. But then you stay where you are instead of being like, okay, this is uncomfortable. This is a sign that I have an opportunity to break through. And then you push forward, you push through the discomfort, you do what you have to do. And now that former ceiling is now your floor. And you're standing on the level that was above you before. I'm rolling, I know. Amy says hello, by the way. So just on a coaching call, and she's going to be a guest here with us.
Yeah, we need to get her back on. I know we were talking about that.
We've got her set to talk about Casey's Law.
That's right. It was already scheduled. Right?
Yeah.
It's on the calendar somewhere.
On one of her challenges on her coaching sheet was like a lot happening at once. And I'm like, okay, so we get to that challenge. I'm like, this should just stay here.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to go away. It's going to go away, fine, maybe when you stop building. But guess what? A whole new set of challenges and stuff comes into life when you're retired, right? So a lot happening at once. If you don't have the tools, if you don't know how to time block, if you don't know how to prioritize and reprioritize, if you don't know how to leverage, if you're unwilling to allow people to help you and support you, if you're unwilling to pour into people to help them grow and become better than you so that they can take some of the things that are on your plate, then yeah, it's a problem. But it's such a gift that there's so much happening.
Yeah, and it's funny. All of the good things that have happened in my life have actually been the result of failure in the broad definition of it, right? It's like I consider my time with the gym a failure because we didn't grow it to a place that we wanted to, or where we expected it to. But the gym's still open. It's still going. So I'm not involved in the operations. I don't own it anymore, but it's still my little baby, and it's still doing its thing over there.
Yeah. What wins or like what things are you proud of from the gym, from your time there?
I mean, just getting through COVID was, navigating that whole thing. I talk about it a lot, right? Like being a wartime general. I know I can perform under pressure. I know I can be agile enough and think outside the box and all of that stuff. And I stuck with my principles during that time too. I didn't kind of waver from that. The relationships I've made from there, some of the clientele that I have, it's still my friends to this day that, I wouldn't have that if we hadn't opened that gym. I wouldn't have, I don't think I would have got on Kurt's radar with my application to Showcase if it wasn't for the experience I had at the gym, because, when you're a business owner, you wear so many hats. It's like, what can't you do within a corporation if you get in on the ground level? And then my real estate time, which we talk about a lot in here, that I consider a failure, I wouldn't have to be in the job I'm in now if I didn't have that experience. That was the thing that the recruiter saw that was like, all right, I think this guy might be a good fit for this. So sometimes I think you are meant to fail. We're not meant to succeed all the time. And I do blame social media a lot for it, that people only show the good stuff. And I'm not saying people have to show themselves crying and, how tough things are, but just like you did, just be vulnerable about where you are right now. And for me to be vulnerable, my health practice is nowhere near where I want it to be. But at the same time, I have to step back and say, all right, well, how fucking dare you expect it to be where you want it to be when you have committed to another career? You put your time in for that. Of course, this has to take a back seat for now. That's totally fine. And you just have to start thinking about, all right, what are the positives coming from this situation right now? How many lives are you changing? I'm still impacting people's lives. I still have some clients. It's not like I'm not doing nothing. I'm able to get all the supplements me and my family use at wholesale pricing. That's a big win.
Yeah.
I get my affiliate with Danger Coffee.
Yes.
www.dangercoffee.com/alpha. So there's positives from everything. And I think just we have to stop being afraid of failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's where you get stuck.
It became an F word when really the succeeding is the failure. You brought up a great point. If you had succeeded in traditional terms, let's say the real estate thing, your life would look very different right now. So you would have failed at the other things. So the failure is the success. It's only, again, when you stop trying, when you stop growing, that you've failed. When you're woe is me and you're in a stuck state. And again, this is just, now we're going to nervous system. Like, we're all capable of moving forward. And that's just life. And that's why even in times of chaos, we are still can function because we're meant to continue to grow. It's when we get stuck and we can't get out of that, and then we're ruminating on all the things that we failed on, and all the things that people told us we were supposed to do, all the things we said we were supposed to do, all the things that didn't turn out the way that we thought they were going to turn out. It's just all self-inflicted. So if you're not failing, you're not growing. The whole point of building a business, a big team, on anything, is to build a system and then work to break it, so that you have to build a better system. So if that's a failure, then our most successful people in the world are failures. But I just lost you.
Knew that
There
was
you
gonna
are.
right.
Different camera. So let's talk about the fear in failure. And we could talk about it from two perspectives. One, the fear of not even wanting to try because of failure. Or two, realizing that you need to call it on something, but continuing down a path you know is wrong because you don't want to be looked at as a failure, or you don't want to feel like a failure.
Are you asking me to do that, or are you
Yeah, well, just
speaking in general?
there's two different perspectives. Does one of them resonate more with you? Like the fear of even trying because you don't want to fail?
Well, I've
Or,
definitely done that, and I think we talked about it last week, where I went through this huge 2-3 hour thing with AI. I gave it this massive prompt to
mm-hmm,
challenge me and essentially audit my life.
mm-hmm,
And one of the things that we came away from it was, you continually put roadblocks in your way because you don't want to fail. So,
mm,
you know, it, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to this. And I know you and I have had this discussion before. It's like you get excited about every opportunity,
mm-hmm,
and in reality, that is your brain saying, all right, well, if I start this and then jump to the next thing before I can fail at the other thing, then we're going to be good. And I think that is the thing, for me at least, that always gets in my way.
mm.
So I can think of so many things of where I was like, if I just started that 2 years ago when I said I was gonna do it, where would I be now? You think about people who don't post enough on social media to market their business.
I don't
And
have your
again,
video, by the way.
I know I've turned it off because that
Okay.
that my camera died, and the other view is just seeing the cat litter in the background, all that.
The real life.
So yeah, exactly. It was the same with social media. Again, you don't need to use social media to promote yourself, but if you had just done that one post a day,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have 365 posts from a year ago. And then you look at your thing, you're like, I did 3 posts. It's that compounding effect, and it's that fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just, I think the key to it is just thinking about consistency. I just started a new page on LinkedIn for Alpha Health, and I'm just posting there 2 or 3 times a week,
Okay.
and we'll see what happens there. But again, it's the consistency. Got 3 or 4 people following it right now, and we've seen it with this podcast too.
Yes.
Subscribers is slowly creeping up because we're consistently posting every single week.
Yep. Yeah, hallelujah to that. And when Curtis Dixon invited me to this Instagram with God and Tara, and I can't recall her last name off the top of my head, Malevi. I'm butchering that. Anyway, she's awesome. One of the things was just posting every day. And I was like, oh, is it too much? And I'm comfortable posting, but it takes a lot of work too. And without a doubt, like 30, 40 followers just from posting daily beyond our podcast shorts. So anything with consistency is going to be a win. The failure part, people are afraid of what, especially when it comes to social media, putting themselves out there. What are people going to think and all of that? But people already think it, whether you're posting it or not posting it. And people are going to judge. There's no way, around it. And you're not for everyone. And that's hard, especially when you're a high I, because you want everyone to like you. But
Yeah.
the people that you're meant for, the people that need you, and everyone needs to hear what you have. And I don't care who you are. What you have inside you is valuable. What you're learned in life is valuable. And there is someone, and probably many, many people that need to hear this. So there's so much out there that nobody needs to hear, so much nonsense, so much fake, not vulnerable, manipulative, scare tactic crap out there that's we just let it win. Every time you don't post something authentic, every time you don't share a valid thought from care, love, concern, we let the nonsense win. You know, we haven't talked about this, and we won't probably could be a podcast itself, but we talk a lot about entrepreneurship. And I've really been thinking about this. So you and I, for sure, not only identify as entrepreneurs, but we are in our actions that we've taken in our life. We both had businesses, small businesses that we saw through COVID. We both have been in and out of the corporate sector and always find our way back to, you know, whether it's parallel to a corporate role
Yeah.
or solo, you know, kind of running and doing our thing in this world, doing it to make a better place, doing it to impact people. But if I'm looking at that and I go, well, I'm an entrepreneur, and this came to me when I was on the treadmill at Midtown, and I can't believe you and I were at the same Hilton Midtown on the same day at the same time and didn't know it. That's
Yeah, that's so funny.
wild to me. So I'm on the treadmill in the gym, and you know, there's a beautiful building across the street, but as I'm looking in, it's everyone at, you know, conference tables and big open workspaces. And I was just like, man, that looks fucking horrible. Like, I just would not want to go in. And the 9 to 5 is like torture to me. Granted, and not a judgment, they could love it. They could hate it. I don't know. They probably get paid really well. I don't know. Maybe they're only there one day a week. I don't know. But it started this thought process. And this thought process is we all either live a life by design or by default. And lots of times it's a mixture of both. There's things we're focused on that we're designing, and other things are kind of just happening to us, happening for us. And I think we've made these buckets of like entrepreneur versus employees. An employee could be C-suite all the way down to janitorial, right? And janitorial doesn't get a fair rap. It always kind of goes on the other end. It's such an important job, and they probably make great money, especially in the union. I think we're all entrepreneurs. Like, we're born into this world, and yes, there's things that we can control and there's things that we can't control, and those change as we get older and we get more freedoms and we get more abilities. But we're all kind of entrepreneurs of our own life, if that makes sense. Making these decisions, you know, daily. And sometimes there's this decision to go and trade our time for dollars in an employee type setting, or trade our time for dollars in an entrepreneur way. Where entrepreneurs build, they do things that suit their life. They are passionate about creating something. And I think just because you work in a 9 to 5 or a more corporate or employee role, you're still an entrepreneur. You're still building your life. You're still designing your life. So I think entrepreneur is almost less defined with how you make money and more so how you're building and designing your life in this world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it goes to a kind of a grander point of putting, you know, making our identity about what we do versus who we are and what we stand for, right? Because it's really interesting. We kind of briefly touched on it the other day, just about how, you know, we're easy, you know, as business owners and entrepreneurs and whatever. No question, I need a CRM to manage my contacts, blah blah blah. But then not doing it for your personal life, when your personal life and your family is the most important thing. This is the, you know, it's what we were put on this earth to do, is to raise families and leave it in a better place for the next generation. A few generations have fucked that up for us, but you know, we spend so much time trying to build this business life instead of building the personal life. And I think if you focus more on building the personal life, the business life will actually improve, because you just become a better person, a better leader, more productive. And I can see that from my own life, just the growth that I've had personally in the last 3 or 4 years. has changed how I work and how productive I am. And I really do think people need to change their mindset around that. You put so much effort into optimizing your work schedule, but then don't do it for the personal schedule. It should be the other way around.
You have to, everything is a decision and a choice. And there's a lot of people that are more in a leaning towards an employee type mindset. Again, nothing, one is not right, one is not better than the other. But some people value less risk, right? We know this from the disc, less risk. They don't like to make decisions quickly, right? They're just set differently. I think we see a lot of entrepreneurs that are definitely more towards the DI or ID or CD. You can get away with finding a money-making vehicle where you have to make less decisions. Like it's autopilot, you kind of go in, you know what you're going to do, that's it. But you can't get away with putting the rest of your life on autopilot. So if you're not an entrepreneur in how you make money, you are an entrepreneur in how you are building and designing your life. And if you've got people around you, that's also how you're impacting, building, and designing your children's lives, your spouse's lives, your significant other's lives. Like you're having an impact on all of that, on your friends, on the people that you do want to be around. So if I was going to wrap it, and I want your thoughts as well, fear is a terrible place to make decisions from. Yet, I don't believe in fearlessness, right? Our brains are wired to keep us safe. It is prehistoric. We're not trying to override our fear response. What we are trying to do is go, I don't need to be fearless, but I do need to be brave. I do need to be courageous because it's not about fear being gone to take action. Like you must act while fear is still there. And I see in the coaching calls, right? Successful people, built teams, having successful careers. Somebody leaves a team. It's like, ooh, like, am I failing? Right? Like, no, you're not failing. That person was out of alignment with your culture and your core values. That what was meant to happen. But the fear never goes away. And we're always going to question ourselves. We're always going to question, did I do my best? What could I have done better? And in some cases, there are things that could have been done better and differently. And that's where failing forward, you shift it. Again, you're always working to break the machine and make it better. So don't wait to not have fear because that's never going to happen. As a matter of fact, when you're feeling fearful, I want you to go, oh my God, I don't like feeling fearful, but this means that there's an opportunity here. And I want you to recognize that and go, how do I step into the fear? What is making me feel fearful? Is this something that I need to explore more? Now, granted, there's certain fears that you should absolutely be like, oh, okay, let me get myself to a safe place.
Yeah.
Failing forward, operating from fear, reframing how we think about fear, reframing how we think about failure. And then just taking responsibility for who we are in our life so far outside how we have money coming in. Like you're either building a life by design or by default. And if you don't build it, someone, life, the universe is going to build it for you. And you're probably not going to be real happy in it.
Yeah. You know, and fear's an interesting one for me. I have it tattooed on me that, faith over fear. And it's, yes, from the Bible, and it's not the exact quote, but the idea is if you believe in a higher power than yourself, if you put faith in that power, then you have nothing to be scared of because they're going to guide you to where you need to get to. So I'm always hesitant to talk about fear from that perspective, but I do think you need to have, it's almost more like just doubts and questions. I think you need that fuel to move forward, because
That's
if you
guiding.
didn't, you would get complacent and you would just stay where you are. So there's a balance, right? And I even take it a step further. If you believe in yourself, then you have nothing to be scared of.
Yes.
It's fine.
Well, that's a loaded question right there.
Yeah.
Do you believe in
I
yourself?
remember sitting in the Inman, it's a few years ago now, the Inman show at the Hilton, actually.
I was there too.
But probably a different year. I think it was a different year because you were coaching me at the time.
Okay. Yeah. That was...
And I remember sitting there, and I was a bit nervous about introducing myself to people and whatnot, networking, all of that. And I remember sitting there, and I still, even with that self-doubt and that kind of, oh God, don't want to have to network and put myself out there, I still sat there and thought, none of these motherfuckers know that I'm going to be on a stage like that one day, and they're probably going to be listening to me. I'm
Yes.
not there yet, but it's going to happen. It's
Yes.
coming.
Yep. Agreed.
A part of that kind of, I don't want to call it arrogance, that belief was born from the fear of, all right, this, I don't like this so much that I'm going to do something great to counterbalance it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's an interesting conversation using fear and failure to motivate you. It can paralyze you, but it can also make you the person you are.
1,000,000%. And there's also fear of success, which to me is a lot more dangerous than fear of failure.
Been there too, yeah.
All right, we have more to talk about. Another pod, super quick, because I'm looking at my treadmill behind there. Pink Zebra Moving Company, Somerset, New Jersey. Great experience, and also a not great experience. Like something happened, the treadmill broke.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Took
The
care of it.
owner, what?
They took care of it.
Took care of it. Like I not only took care of it, she's going to be on the pod. She's so cool. Her dad was handyman, repairman. She could have easily said to me, "Sorry, Miss Stone, you signed paperwork saying that we would give you $1 per pound of
Yeah.
item for insurance." I ended up bringing it up. She's like, she's like, "Let's not even talk about that. We're going to take care of this." Like from the beginning, she was like, we will make this right." Even though they didn't have to. She was here in her pink Zebra Jeep. Our Jeeps look very cute, parked next to each other. Looked at it. She's like, "Let me try one thing. Try one thing. And if it doesn't work, we'll go to Peloton." Because Peloton wanted $170 to even come out here. And the guy's like, "You're going to need a whole new tread base for $1,700."
Yeah.
I was like, "No problem." She came out. She had her tool thing. I let her bent instead of like, I was relaxed. I was like, "It's going to be what it's going to be." I let go of it and she fixed it and it's working. And it was, not going to say a simple fix, but it was pretty simple and they took care of it. So just amazing experience. And you really can see a company's values. And we ended up talking about core values. I'll probably go do some presenting for them. And then I was like, "Oh my God, she's got to be on the podcast." But I wanted to give a little shout out to Pink Zebra Moving Company here in New Jersey. That was a phenomenal experience from start to finish, even when there was a hiccup. And to me, I can recommend them even more because of
Yeah.
how they handled that hiccup. So,
It's that unreasonable hospitality right there.
yes, seriously, that, making a raving fan. Have a kick butt day. To everyone who's listening right now, I just want to say thank you. I feel like we don't greet people when you start our podcast. I want to be like, say hello. But if anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. We're saying goodbye. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to us ramble on. And we hope, but we also know that you found one little nugget of value today. And we trust that you are going to just take a little small step of action from something that inspired you and make your life the life that you want to live by design, not by default. Embrace fear, embrace failure. Keep tuning in. Until next time, friends. Bye for now.